Hey y'all, almost 2 weeks into this pantry challenge, and so far I'm really enjoying it. My name's Loanna, and this is a little bit of homestead. Come on and see what we've been eating and a few things I've learned along the way. To save time, I will cook bacon or sausage up all at once, and that way I only dirty one pan. I only cook breakfast for the both of us on the weekends. My husband leaves really early for work. He likes to eat his breakfast a little later in the morning during his break. So I pack a breakfast and usually the night before's dinner leftovers for his lunch. And then I will store the bacon in a container in the refrigerator, and then I can pull it out and use it throughout the week as I need it. And don't forget to save the grease and get all the pan goodies out of it. I try to make a same-day sourdough bread each week. I found this recipe from Rose Red Homestead. I think that's what it is. I really enjoy it. I add a little bit of honey to her recipe. I'll link her channel below. New Year's Day, we had a big hearty breakfast of sourdough toast, bacon, leftover pulled pork, and some canned breakfast sausage from a few years ago that I'm trying to use up during the challenge. And we finished the day off with a pot of chili. I doctored up several jars of chili with some extra meat, tomatoes, and spices, and it was wonderful. I started this challenge off by doing a good fridge clean out, and here I'm going to cut up some salad. I have some busy days this week that I may be working late, and I have some pulled pork that I didn't video that I fixed in the crock pot. Here is some lettuce that I got from my garden. It's the last of it, and it is delicious. And I also have these lamb chops that I'll cook on the grill one evening, but I probably won't video that as well because I will have some late nights. I've had this part of a tromboncino squash hanging around for too long in the fridge. I'm going to just treat it like I would a butternut squash. They taste really similar. And I have saved plenty of these seeds for this spring. So I'll give these seeds to the chickens. I usually bake these cut side down, but for some reason I cooked these cut side up. Oh well, it really doesn't matter. Again, freshening up some side veggies from the fridge so they don't go to waste. And we'll use some of those things up first so we don't lose them. Oh, thank goodness the inspector found this crumb that I missed. I baked the squash around 400 degrees until it was fork tender, and I drizzled it with some maple syrup. And I put it in the fridge for the next few busy days. The second week, I made 2 loaves of bread, and it is so good. So good. This night, I'm making venison burgers, and I'm going to use the last of this barbecue sauce I found in the fridge. And this is a pickled red cabbage, and it's one of the items that I don't seem to remember to use. And I thought it would go real good with the burgers, and it did. It's really good. I just forget that I have it. And one thing when you do home canning is learning to eat the things you have, and it's an adjustment. Or at least it is for me. Now, I had a feeling we would be wanting something sweet, so I'm taking some applesauce and I'm just mixing butter, flour, cinnamon, sugar, and I'm making a topping. And I'm going to mix this up and crumble it on top, and then add some pecans, and I'm going to bake it while the burgers cook. I think I baked it 375-ish, and it turned out really nice. Nothing fancy, just good. For tonight's meal, I thought it would be good to cook these burgers in the beef tallow. Just fry them, season them real simple with some salt and pepper. And towards the end, I'm going to add the garlic in so it doesn't burn. Put it on all of them. So yummy. So now while my pan is hot and I have the seasonings in it, I'll go ahead and brown up this burger for later this week. I'm going to do open face burgers with some of our homemade sourdough bread. And I'm going to top them with some cheese. Add a little of the slaw, some broccoli, and it was delicious. I had these flatbreads in the freezer. I crisp up both sides in the oven on broil, and I top with home canned sauce and the burger we cooked the other night. I mentioned in my last video that I had some bone and fat ordered from the butcher. Well, my kitchen's been busy making bone broth and tallow and rendering lard. So I've hit the easy button on dinner a few nights this week, and I'll have tallow and lard videos up soon, so be looking for those. We also ate out several nights the past 2 weeks, which explains why I don't have a ton of different meals for you. This is one of our favorite little pizzas to make. It's super easy. I get these flatbreads at Aldi. So good. Lunch for me usually consists of leftovers or just some things that I grab that's real easy. But today I decided I wanted a grilled cheese and some tomato basil soup that I'd canned this summer. And it was so good. And I got 2 days lunch from this 1 quart of soup. It was really good. One of my goals for the challenge was to use up some of my canned items that didn't turn out so great. Well, this is one of them. I seared some pork loin and smoked paprika, and I topped it with this pear chutney. And then this is a pear preserves that I made, and it's set up really hard. And I saved it for this very purpose, but I kept forgetting that I have it, and it's been down there several years. So I decided to add some cowboy candy as well for some heat to cut the sweet from the preserved pear rocks. And then I added this. This is a nice pear chutney. And I baked it at 350. Here I have some out of date packets. When I was doing my inventory for the challenge, I found them. They're fine. I'm just not going to let them go to waste. So I have some onions, sweet peas, some brassica greens that I'd froze. I'm going to saute the onions, throw in the rest of that garlic, or just a little bit of garlic, some of the greens. Get those sauteed around. And then I'm going to add the peas towards the end and those packets of the barley. And then I'm going to serve everything on top of it. Just make that like a elevated rice. So I topped it with the seasoned pork, and it turned out really nice. I like to use sweet potatoes or squash in place of rice or noodles a lot of times. So I'm sauteing and seasoning up these diced sweet potatoes. And then I will toss them in the oven to bake. And while they're baking, I have some ground beef that I had canned. And I'm going to take the broth and get the last bit of this garlic and the juice that's hanging out in the bottom of this jar. Get every bit of the flavor from it. And I drained the rest of the liquid off of that burger. I'm going to saute the onions and add the pork. Beef. Sorry, I keep calling it pork. Then I'm going to season it like a taco seasoning with some cumin, oregano, chili powder, and some smoked paprika. I love that stuff. And the last of that garlic. Then I'm going to take off the liquid and season meat. So I'm going to add a little bit of cheese and the meat, seasoned meat. And my beans. Spread it out real even. And then I'm going to add some more cheese. And I'm going to put this back in the oven to melt. And then we're going to serve these up kind of like you would a burrito bowl, except without all the rice. And then we will top these with, you can top it however you like. We're using a little bit of radish, some pickled onions, the cowboy candy. That stuff's amazing. And a little bit of sour cream. And then we'll eat them with some tortilla shells, or tortilla chips, sorry. So this concludes my first 2 weeks of the Pantry challenge. I learned a few things. I learned that you can't do a pantry challenge and video food with the full kitchen of a huge project going on without it being hard. And I also learned I need a new potato peeler. So if you have any good suggestions for a good potato peeler, I would love to hear what you say about that. And tune in a few days. I'll have another week of meals for you. Thanks for joining me.